My first game jam. So I've been working in Unreal Engine and Blender for a while now. I felt like now would be an awesome time to try a game jam. Virtus Learning Hub is an Unreal Engine tutorial channel. They have been tremendously helpful not only for myself but many other users learning in Unreal Engine. The theme of this game jam was the 4 elements. Starting off, I wasn't sure what I was going to do or be able to do. 4 different main characters seemed like a ton to do in 2 weeks. So I sat down, got to planning out the characters. First character was the fire element. I wanted to be able to have a set of characters be twins. Figured it would save some time doing the elements fire and water as sisters. I used Make Human and Blender, got the textures baked, then threw it over to UE4. Gave her a bow with magic exploding arrows, adding in some VFX to her weapons and movements. I used ALS as a base for the character because it has really awesome features like climbing, running, and weapon classes. This unfortunately probably wasted more time than doing it by hand after combing through the system for a whole night, fixing and breaking it on multiple occasions. But I was able to get a basic bow and enemy set up before sunrise. The next day, the air and earth characters, painting in some of their materials and baking the textures. Scrapped the first earth character completely and made a new one I was a lot happier with. Brought the air type into UE4, and I'm not going to lie, it's probably my favorite character. I built some simple VFX shaders for him, used different animation sets and blueprints for him than I did with the twins, allowing him to attack continually and fly. For the earth type, he will have the ability to ram people along with other melee attacks. I was using hitboxes for pre-testing, built the blueprints for an enemy, but this character was not what I wanted for a final result, and I still had no level or idea of what the story was about. At this point, I didn't have a water character in Unreal. Setting up being able to play as 4 players, switching back and forth using basic AI instead of AI trees, was taking most of my time. But surprisingly, it was coming along. It is Christmas time. I was taking some time to watch my little ones open up their gifts, and then I'm right back into it. I'm about 9 days out from the deadline, and I just spent a day scrapping levels. I start thinking of a big boss the heroes could fight, and an ice giant just makes sense. I bring him into Unreal and I start playing with the cinematics for the player beginning. I absolutely love building scenes in Unreal Engine. Also, I know Unreal Engine has pre-built levels and assets, so I grab the Iceland asset and start working it into a playable level, adding in some climbable areas, some newer areas, and swapped out our enemy for a skeleton in the same pack. I used one of the ice shaders on their materials. It's looking awesome. Added in health and damage, built the blueprints for the attacks for the enemies like random attacks, hit reactions, and at this time I started to build the different traces for our players and enemies using different tags and channels, which cleaned up a lot. A few days out, the player's respawn system is giving me a ton of problems. The ALS characters are having size issues, not reacting properly to the mantle system. The cinematics caused way more issues than expected, and at this point I definitely didn't think I was finishing. A few nights in, after redoing some of the cinematics and fixing some of the AI, also I took away the respawn system completely. For the player's death, I wanted it to switch the player into the next character by random, forcing you to play as the other characters if you hadn't. But it would disable the basic AI position, and that would cause overspawning for the other characters. For the game itself, I didn't want it to be a game you could lose. If you die, fell off the map, etc., I just wanted players to respawn back up at the start. After that was somewhat working, I added some more effects and added an end scene. This caused a few more issues, and after playtesting finding more bugs, completing my first game jam was looking to be impossible. I sit back and take a day adding in some more animations to the players, finishing off their magic abilities. After playing through, making small adjustments, it's playable and it's kind of fun. Flying up to the ice monster and going toe to toe with him, learning some of the secret abilities the twins have, like riding the arrow or magic up to the giant, jamming through skeletons, or just watching the AI as it does, I was having a blast. The last thing that was fixed was the scenes. They still sometimes mess up, but overall it was doing pretty well. And I've also seen AAA studios ship with worse problems. So finally, after 2 hard weeks of grinding, I turned it in, my first game jam completed, the fastest game I have ever built, and I'm too happy to have attempted this. Game jams have always intimidated me. I was terrified to attempt one, and it was a lot of pressure. When the announcement dropped, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I'm too grateful for the opportunity. This has been an amazing experience, and I want to thank Virtus for hosting the jam, as well as all the information and help you've given us. I want to thank you all for your time. If you've made it this far, I appreciate your support. If you'd like to try this game, the link will be below. It's not perfect, but it is kind of fun. And thank you again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.